This questioning was the second round of questioning with Manish Sisodia. What were the new details and the new set of questions that the CBI asked him that led to this arrest? My colleague Arunima is with us right now to provide us with fresh insight. Let's go over to her. Arunima, over to you.
Right. So this question has been repeatedly asked that when Sisodia was not named in the first charge sheet that CBI has filed, why arrest him now? What was the new evidence that CBI suddenly found which led to this arrest? So what we learn after speaking to sources is that, Dinesh Arora, one of those businessmen who have been named by CBI in the FIR as a close associate of Manish Sisodia, when he turned approver, he, gave CBI crucial insights and into how this excise policy, the changes in the new excise policy, the difference from the original one, how were they brought about, what really was happening there. There's also an excise department bureaucrat who has given crucial insight to CBI, say, officials. Now, what are these two essentially telling CBI? That the changes were not on file. Anything that was being suggested was not on file. And that is why to get anybody arrested because of discrepancies found on record is difficult. What they tell the CBI, and this is what the allegation is, this is what the charge is, that there were multiple phones that were used to send informal instructions to the excise department bureaucrats about what changes should be made. Now, where are these phones? These phones have gone missing. So the charge is that these phones, which the bureaucrats claim that belong to Mr. Sisodia, when these phones have gone missing, a direct charge of destruction of evidence is made out. The second thing what they're saying is that Dinesh Arora, the businessman about whom I just mentioned, gave crucial insight as to how, even though on paper there were more discounts being given to Delhiites as far as consumption of alcohol was concerned, the requisite revenue was not coming into the treasury of Delhi government, and that's why the loss to exchequer. So under Prevention of Corruption Act, Section 7, and also under sections of intention to defraud the treasury, the government, and criminal conspiracy and destruction of evidence. These were the broad charges based on which Mr. Sisodia's arrest was carried out. At around 2 o'clock this afternoon, or post 2 o'clock, just after 2 o'clock, he is expected to be taken to the Rouse Avenue court, and there CBI will try and impress upon the judge that to take this evidence further, they want to question him in custody. Ashish Maharshi is here with me, tracks the CBI very closely, has looked at this case both from the ED and the CBI investigation point of view. Ashish, what the officials are saying about Dinesh Arora's role, could that be the final nail in the coffin for Mr. Sisodia?
Dinesh Arora's role obviously is very important because he has turned out to be a witness. But interestingly, Arunima, if you see, if the ED has not named him as an accused or a witness, so they have left that open. That is something really interesting. So Dinesh Arora, in his statement when he turned witness, he basically talked about on how the money movement came from south, and it was basically the Hawala channels were used, and ultimately, that money was basically used for Goa elections. But to my understanding, when I have been speaking to my sources in the CBI and the ED both, I believe the statement by R.F. Gopi Krishna and C. Arvind, who's, C. Arvind was basically the secretary from the Dainik cadre of Manish Sisodia, and we all know R.F. Gopi Krishna was basically the excise commissioner. They both stated that one, at least in the case of C. Arvind, it was very clearly stated that, when there was an expert committee meeting, when there was the GOM, when there was a cabinet note, there was no mention of the wholesale trade going to the private players, and secondly, the increase in margin from 5 to 12% was not mentioned. But suddenly, one day, C. Arvind was called at the house of Arvind Kejriwal, where Manish Sisodia was also sitting, and Manish Sisodia instructed him to basically increase the margin from 5% to 12% and give it to the private players. So this abrupt decision, neither it was present, in the expert committee, neither at the GOM level, neither at the cabinet level. So there was an abrupt decision which came, and the allegation is that out of the 12%, 6% came into the hands of senior Aam Aadmi Party netas. That is what the CBI is claiming. Now, if you go to the statement of R.F. Gopi Krishna, there was serious allegations of cartelization. We all know Sameer Mahindru is a blacklisted individual. His wife Gitika Mahindru was also blacklisted by the excise department itself. We all know that the allegation is that Indo Spirits was given the wholesale trade of Pernod Ricard only because there was certain deal that was struck, and there were certain individuals who were kept in the company as Benami equity shareholders on behalf of certain individuals. So here, despite the allegations of cartelization and complaints, Manish Sisodia ignored it. Arab Gopi Krishna raised that issue, that he has given this statement before the CBI as well as the ED that there were allegations. Despite that, he continued to give, in fact, he ordered Arab Gopi Krishna to issue the license to Indo Spirit on a priority basis. And we all know that you have been talking about the other areas of concern is the file, the crucial file that is missing, the continuous destruction of phones that were used during the policy. So there are certain things which are there against Manish Sisodia, and to my understanding, all these points are going to be highlighted when it comes to the remand note as of today. And obviously, they're going to ask for a number of days. It could be up to 14 days.